Hello and welcome to Parents Guide to Games. Let's take a look at the games coming out the week of November 11, 2025. The first game on today's list is Anno 117, Pax Romana. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PC. Rating, teen. Content descriptions. Alcohol reference, language, mild violence. Anno 117. Pax Romana is a strategy game in which players manage a city in ancient Rome. From a top-down perspective, players manage growth by building infrastructure, engage in politics/diplomacy, and engage in warfare against other cities. Players deploy military units and naval ships across battlefields. Battles can depict small soldiers sword fighting and collapsing to the ground. Naval battles depict cannon fire and ships ramming into each other. To keep the populace happy, players can manufacture alcohol and construct taverns. Some references to alcohol also appear in the dialogue. Swear words are heard in the game. The next game is Gigasword. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Switch, PC. Rating, everyone 10 and up. Content descriptions, fantasy violence, mild blood. Gigasword is an action puzzle Metroidvania where you play as Ezra, a blade-wielding hero who must ascend the ancient tower called the Nestrium to recover the god crystal, Gnosis, and stop a coming cataclysm. You carry an enormous sword that both helps and hinders you. Planting the sword in the ground anchors it and lets you reach areas you otherwise cannot, but leaves you unable to attack while it's stuck. Many challenges mix weight/placement puzzles with fast, reflexive combat against demons and bosses. The tension between mobility and the sword's weight is central to level design. Let's take a look at Rennsport. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PC. Rating, everyone. Rennsport is a racing game in which players participate in races around the world. Players can compete in a variety of game modes including solo, contest, quick session, and time trial. Next up is Call of Duty, Black Ops 7. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PC. Rating, mature. Content descriptions, blood and gore, intense violence, strong language, suggestive themes, use of drugs. Call of Duty, Black Ops 7 is a first-person shooter in which players engage in combat missions through outdoor terrains and realistic urban environments. As players try to prevent a tech titan from gaining power, they use pistols, machine guns, assault rifles, and explosives to kill various enemies. Battles are realistic and frenetic, highlighted by gunfire, cries of pain, and blood splatter effects. Some levels allow players to engage in execution moves/sequences. Some weapons cause characters to explode into bloody chunks of flesh. Zombie and hallucination sequences depict frequent dismemberment and decapitation while battling hordes of enemies. The game includes customizable cards as part of players' identities. Some cards depict close-ups of a character's crotch and are figures designed with deep cleavage, revealing outfits. Other cards depict skeletons smoking marijuana with cannabis leaves and smoke. Swear words appear in the game. Now let's look at where wins meet. PlayStation 5, PC. Rating, teen. Content descriptions, use of alcohol, violence. Where Winds Meet is an open-world wuxia action RPG that places you in a living, choice-driven recreation of China's 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms era where you play a wandering sword master uncovering your past while navigating political unrest, sect rivalries, and ancient mysteries. Fast, cinematic martial arts combat built around melee weapons, parries, counters, and visually expressive skill animations. Open-world exploration with branching quests, dynamic events, and freedom to approach story beats and encounters in multiple ways. We are getting into the creepy with Indika. Switch. Rating, mature. Content descriptions, blood and gore, partial nudity, sexual themes, strong language, violence. Indika is a story-driven puzzle-adventure game in which players assume the role of a nun on a journey of self-discovery. From a third-person perspective, players explore locations in an alternative Russia, interact with characters, and solve environmental puzzles. Some sequences require players to avoid pursuing enemies. Chase sequences can result in brief, violent cutscenes if players are caught. Cutscenes can depict additional acts of violence and/or blood/gore. A character impaled, vomiting blood. Several characters shot, a character carrying around his severed arm. In one pixelated minigame, A character is depicted blown in half, with accompanying blood splatter effects. The game contains some sexual material in cutscenes and in the dialogue. One scene briefly depicts a character with exposed breasts. Swear words appear in the game. Let's dive into Marvel's Deadpool VR. Quest 3. Rating: mature. Content descriptions: intense violence, blood and gore, sexual themes, strong language, mature humor. Marvel's Deadpool VR is a first-person hack-and-slash action game that puts you in the boots of Deadpool for a VR-native adventure built around melee and gunplay, parkour, and over-the-top comedy and violence. Fast, frenetic first-person swordplay with dual katanas and twin pistols, combining melee combos, shooting, and physics-driven interactions that emphasize player motion and timing. Brutal parkour and acrobatic movement let you chain across environments for combat advantage and spectacle. Next up is Morsels. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Switch, PC. Rating: teen. Content descriptions: violence, blood. Morsels is a top-down roguelike creature collector where you play a hungry mouse transformed by a sentient fatberg into a morsel master, recruiting and swapping between little monsters to fight through gross, sewer-to-surface biomes and push back cat dominance. Play as a mouse that captures and commands a rotating roster of morsels, each with unique abilities and status effects, and switch between them in real time to survive encounters and environmental hazards. Combat mixes frenetic shooter-style action with strategic party composition and on-the-fly swapping, while magical cards and power-ups modify transformations and build variety each run. And the last game on today's list with a full description is SpongeBob SquarePants: Titans of the Tide. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Switch 2, PC. Rating: everyone 10 and up. Content descriptions: comic mischief, fantasy violence. SpongeBob SquarePants: Titans of the Tide is a 3D platformer game in which players control SpongeBob and Patrick as they try to stop villains from unleashing mayhem across Bikini Bottom. Players traverse underwater landscapes while collecting coins and engaging in melee combat with ghosts and boss characters. Enemies use cartoony melee weapons to defeat players. SpongeBob and Patrick use spin attacks, belly bumps and ground pounds to attack. Boss battles feature more prolonged combat, with larger enemies shooting lasers and tossing slime at players. A handful of whimsical outfits/skins depict characters with fully or partially exposed buttocks. The rest of today's games are coming out but no information was available. That's all the games for this week. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you want to help the channel out, please support us on Patreon. Follow Parents Guide to Games on YouTube, Facebook and TikTok. And always thanks for watching.